Alright, so in this video we're going to be doing pre-built keyboard tier list. I have been having to make tier lists and stuff because my PC has to get fixed. And they're expecting like a pretty long time because the GPU was messed up and it's been taking forever for anybody to get a GPU right now. So yeah, I'm sorry for the lack of uploads. It's been kind of rough and I've had like a ton of school to do. It's just like, it's not been my main priority. The K100 is what we're going to start with. And I think it's going to go in C tier just because of that heavy price tag and the polling rate that really doesn't, like, I guess technically it does make it faster, but, or more responsive, but I feel like it's not going to be as noticeable as it is in a mouse. And just mixed with this, like, stupid layout. I don't even know why they decided to use this layout anymore. It's just completely outdated. I don't know anybody that really wants this layout anymore with these side extra keys and yeah, it takes up too much space. The price tag is way too heavy. It's just not worth it, even with their new optical switches. The K65 is just gonna go in garbage. The stabilize, it's just an outdated Corsair keyboard. I don't even want to get into it. Black Widow V2 or V3 is gonna go in D tier. So the Black Widow V3 is the full size competitor, like the other option to the Huntsman full size one. I think you know what I mean. This one, and I just came out recently. And they do use updated Razer switches, but the stabilizers are horrible on the full size. And we're gonna go to the TKL version. The TKL version stabilizers are not bad at all. For some reason, Razer's stabilizers on full size keyboards are always like miles worse than they are in the TKL versions for whatever reason. And the price tag of the TKL is like $95, is extremely competitive with what the full size is. The Huntsman Mini is going to go in B tier. I'm not a big fan of the Huntsman series at all, but it's one of the first main 60% keyboards from like a huge company, and it's not horrible value. It's like $110 usually off on sale, and it does like detachable cable, and it's not horrible. The Huntsman series, I'm just not a Huntsman fan like at all. I find the Huntsman, I just don't like their purple switches at all. I think I just hate them. The Huntsman TE is going to go in C tier. Same thing. I find the switches just really ignorant sounding, and the spacebar is just like, the stabilizers are horrible. The spacebar is even worse. It's just not good sounding. The Apex Pro is going to go in A tier. I think if it didn't have the OmniPoint switches, which we're going to do the Apex 7 next, it would be very low. And the OmniPoint switches are by far they're the second smoothest switch I've ever tried behind the V2 analog. I only got to try a few of them, so I'm not 100% sure. But from what I felt, the V2 analog were just extremely smooth. The Razer analog keyboard, that's like $250. But the switches are absolutely amazing, and the stabilizers aren't horrible, but they are pretty bad. And it is technically the fastest keyboard on the market. The Apex 7 is going to go in C tier, D tier. It's just an Apex Pro with normal, like, switches, mechanical switches. F tier for Red Dragon. 1-2 Mini is going to go in C tier. It's just a middle of the road keyboard at this point. Same with the 1-2 SF. And the Pro 2 is going to go in D tier, I think, now. It's just a little bit outdated at this point. Yeah. The EC switches. So this is different than a normal Varmillo or Maya Pro keyboard. These have the EC switches. They are Varmillo's own switches. They don't have any contact points, so they're contactless. I don't know why I said contact points. I meant like, you know what I mean, like contact. They're just contactless, and they're pre-lubed out of the factory. I had a Varmillo keyboard, and the stabilizers were literally perfect. Like, there was no rattle at all. They were heavily lubed. Varmillo is a really good pre-built keyboard brand. GMMK is going to go in C tier. No, this is a GK61. Well, they're both going to go in C tier anyway. The only thing they have going for both of them is hot swappability. Except the GK61, you are able to case swap it, and for like $30 more. So that is good. You can't case swap a GMMK, but the GMMK is built better than the GK61. So I mean, they're basically kind of like equals, I think. SK64, I think, is gonna go in C tier also. I think it's also hot swap and you can case swap it. Uh, the Moto Speed one and RK61 is just gonna go in garbage. They're like the same things, just not hot swappable. So G Pro X is gonna go in F tier. I don't know. I don't even want to talk about this keyboard. This is probably one of the worst um, flagship keyboards I've seen in my life. This is the full-sized HyperX alloy keyboard. I forgot exactly what it's called, but I do know the stabilizers on it were absolutely horrible. But the switches were no D tier. But the switches were not terrible. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure this is the one with their aqua and red switches. And then I'm pretty sure the Alloy core also had, or Alloy Origins core also has these switches. But I think the stabilizers were a little bit better, so they're gonna go in C tier. The Vulcan Tkl Pro is gonna also go in S tier. Or I'm at A tier. The stabilizers are extremely good on this keyboard, and they do have Titan optical switches, but you can't change the keycaps at all, since they are low profile and Rockhat doesn't offer any other keycaps. This is also going to go in A tier. I'm pretty sure the 122 just has different switches. I'm pretty sure these are maybe brown switches and these are red switches. So G915's gonna go in C tier, I think, also the top of C tier, even though I'm not really ranking them like board to board. I think it just has to go like a C plus. Basically, it's okay for what you're getting, but the price is just way too high, and most people that are gaming don't even want a Bluetooth keyboard to begin with, so it's kind of useless. And you can't change the keycaps. The stabilizers are pretty horrible, and not everybody likes low profile. So the drop alt and control is going to go in B tier. I know this is kind of like a custom, and I'm not doing customs. I don't even know what this is. I think this might be an acrylic tofu, but we're not going to do customs. But I don't think this counts as a custom. It's just a hot swap keyboard that I think is really overpriced, but technically it's just an okay pre-built option. This Cooler Master keyboard is going to go in F tier. The Durgod Hades is also going to go in S tier. This goes for the, I think it's the Venus, I think is the other layout of this one. It's very competitively priced, like a very cheap price. I think it's like $130 for this. I know it's not cheap, but in the land of keyboards it is. And PBT keycaps, pre-lubed stabilizers, like very good stabilizers, a metal case, aluminum case. You get like 20 different switch types to choose from, and yeah. So that's gonna be the end of this video. Peace.